Discovered lying in a pool of blood in her 2-bedroom flat with the words "help me" repeatedly written on the walls.
Oh dear, it's serious business now.
And we're back with another part of the letter. Today we're gonna finish off Isabella's part for now, and it's gonna get pretty cursed. The curse is getting pretty serious up in here. Also, Isabella's gonna make a really erotic face at one point for reasons, so stay tuned for that. And so I'm Sasha, this is Enjoying Pixels, let's get into it.
I wish I hadn't left my bed this morning. Here, with only the occasional drips of water on the sink and the whirring of the fan blades to keep me company, it's easy to fall into a cycle of negative thinking. But even with the clutter to keep me company, the room still feels a whole lot bigger than usual. I hug my knees closer as a group passes by outside. Loud. So loud. If only there was a way to tune everything out to keep my head from replaying every image, every sound of her. Her screams, her awkward gait as she reaches for me, her bone-chilling smile, her pleas for... Enough. That's enough. A shiver passes over me, though it's not from the hair still hanging damp against my back, nor the draft that enters the room from the windows I left wide open. My gaze shifts over the letter sitting on the coffee table. Its edges flutter innocuously as the wind touches it. Funny how an ordinary-looking piece of paper can bring this much trouble. It's because it's cursed. The impulse to throw it away or rip it to pieces is still there. I can easily do it, but after that, what? Will she leave me? What about those people who've already seen it? Will they be okay? This uncertainty gnaws at me. Knowing that she's real, I might also go after the people I care about. I just wish someone would listen. Believe me. The abrupt break in the silence nearly makes me jump out of my skin. Who's knocking? It's Ash, I don't want to see you. Frowning, I take a quick look at the clock on my bedside table. It's late. No one usually visits me around this hour, except maybe for...
Isabella? Are you in there?
Ooh, someone's texted me. Her tone is tentative, unsure, testing whether I'll respond or not. Any other day, she'll just enter the room after one knock. Today I think she's trying to be considerate. She knows I'm in here, and she can easily go inside since I've given her a copy of my key years ago. Purely on her insistence, of course, after she saw the state of my room. In her own words, like a hurricane passed through the place. Ever since, she'll drop by from time to time, either to share whatever she dished up or help me clean. She knocks again, louder this time, albeit the kind with less urgency. I take that as my cue to answer the door.
Hey. Hey there. Mind if I come in?
She holds out a paper bag to me. From inside, a savory aroma wafts into the air, making my stomach rumble rather loudly. Becca shoots me a knowing smile before she walks into my apartment like she owns the place.
I knew you missed dinner. I picked this up on my way home. Thought you'd like one too. And why is it so dark in here? Were you sleeping when I knocked?
I move to turn on the lights myself before she stretches her hand out for the switch.
Not really. I was just thinking. About? Did you rearrange things again? Where are the plates? Stuff. The cupboard to your right, top shelf.
Only the clinking of silverware could be heard as a hush fills the room, a sound both familiar and awkward. I can easily answer her previous question to cover for the lack of talk, but from her hurried movements and hesitant tone, I know she'll bring it up sooner. The food is just a ruse to get me to open my mouth. I'm unsure if I should be happy or mad that I have someone like Becca who knows me so well. Minutes later, she's pushing a plate into my hands and settles on the sofa opposite my seat at the edge of the bed. She sticks a fork in her own dish, yet does not go beyond shoving the meat and peas around her plate. She would have scolded me by now if I did the same in front of her. Shrugging, I look down at my own food and...
It's pork? Are you sure you want to eat this? Don't look at me like I'm feeding you poisonous stuff. I know, but pork? You hate pork. I don't hate it. I just don't like eating it on a regular basis. I can always burn it off with a few hours of jogging. Why are you being picky about this? You're the one who doesn't even gain weight no matter how much or whatever you eat.
Becca, are you not eating meat because you think you'll gain more weight by eating it? I'm worried about Becca now.
I was just asking. You threw a fit when I used pork in your stovies that one time. It wasn't a good day to eat that? And what about you? You don't seem to be having a good day either. This afternoon?
She opens the subject with the same finesse a bulldozer has. I might have laughed if we were talking about something else. I'm almost impressed. She used to complain about my own tendency to do that. In the end, Becca simply gives up any pretense of eating and sets her own plate on the side table. She leans forward in her seat, clasping her hands together in her lap as her expression grows serious. It reminds me of that one time I got sent to the principal's office. I can neither recall when or why, the memory's vague now considering the years since, but I remember squirming on my seat a lot, the agonizing weight and the intense desire to leave the room.
Belle, Isabella, what happened?
Ooh, full name. Now you know it's serious. I spear a piece of meat and pop it into my mouth. It's good, but the taste doesn't really register. A shame. Becca, sharp as ever, is quick to pick up on this and pushes through with her questions, forgoing her place on the couch to sit beside me. Not that the concern is unwelcome, quite the opposite actually, except the expectation that we'd fall into the same cyclical argument is there.
About yesterday, during Zach's movie, things didn't end well, and I guess... No, let me rephrase that. I just want to say I'm sorry. We're sorry. We were pretty harsh.
Although I'm still upset about it, Becca seems sincere with her apology. I was telling the truth? Or what's the point? Does what's the point mean that I'm not gonna push it? Or that, let me save and think about it. There really are a lot of decisions here and it really could impact your experience. I was telling the truth. I'm gonna push it. I don't know if that's the right choice, but I'm gonna push it. I was telling the truth. You're all cursed.
I was telling the truth.
What is it that people often say? Words lose their meaning when you keep repeating them. And they do. My voice comes out as a whisper, an earnest plea. But its meaning rings hollow even to my own ears. How long are they going to keep asking me the same thing? How many times do I have to tell them what I've seen before they believe me?
Is this it?
Becca picks the letter from the table. And for the first time since this exchange started, I look up from my food. She inspects it in the same manner one does with something fragile, holding it with all the care in the world. Her stare lingers on the message printed on it. Something pensive sets in her face as she reads the lines over and over again. I want to stop her, take the paper away from her hands, hide it. But it's too late now, isn't it? It dawns on me now that maybe yesterday's argument was also my fault. Because more than wanting them to believe me, I'm also running away from the guilt. From the idea that I've put my own friends in danger. I'm afraid to do anything about it. No. I remember exactly how that argument went down. You can't do that to me. They pulled it out of your hands and held it over your head. It's not like you went up to them and were like, hey, look at this letter. Look at this cursed letter. So no, that's not how it went down. No. I'm a coward. No, you tried to tell them and they rejected you. Like, yeah, you're scared of having to deal with the letter, but that's not the same as just like, here, look at, no. Isabella, stop it. Stop gaslighting yourself.
Sorry, I wasn't able to get a good look at it when Ash was holding it yesterday.
Really? Because the blood writing is pretty big. I'm sorry, I'm very invested in this.
It isn't like it'll make a difference. Where did you even find this? The attic. Attic where? The mansion? You know, this might have a historical significance.
I doubt it. It was on the floor when I saw it.
So a prank then?
It's not a prank! That's the same thing I was telling you yesterday!
You know, it also doesn't help that, like, Isabella's first instinct is just to start screaming at the top of her lungs.
Then tell me what happened. I can't understand where you're coming from if you keep giving me short-clipped answers.
Fair.
Please?
I fall silent. Becca's far from a person who'll believe in such things, yet...
You really want to hear it?
She nods. I tell her everything from the moment I arrived at the mansion, my search for Rose, and what I saw. True to her words, she listens. Not in the same way a person hangs onto a storyteller's every word as if it's the only truth in the world, but in a manner a person who has simply offered to lend an ear to someone who needs it does. No personal opinions, no long arguments, whether it's the truth or not, just her undivided attention. Thank you, Becca. And it's pleasant to be heard, that is.
Is it the same? This afternoon? When you...
They're gonna have me committed. Like...
I've never heard you scream like that.
She was there.
She? Who is she? I'm missing a lot of things here, Belle.
Her! The ghost! She's just there, standing, calling for me.
Yo, calm down. She's listening at this point.
On the streets? I don't...
On the window! Becca, it's her face when she looks at me. It's here, stuck in my head. I can't shake it off. There are voices, shadows asking for help. I don't know how. I don't know what she wants from me. Lord, I don't even know how to help myself right now.
My hands begin to shake. Balling them into fists is all I can do to keep them from moving. She may not be here. I may not be seeing her misshapen face smiling at me, but the dread remains. I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to be left alone with these haunting images again.
I'm sorry. I didn't know this has been bothering you like this.
Really? She was pretty upset last night.
Why are you apologizing?
Because they were awful.
Look at you. This isn't the Isabella I know. Any other day you'd bounce back. You got what you wanted today. Your dad's gonna be okay. And yet here you are. Zach can tell. I'm sure Ash can as well.
Ash.
I'm probably the only one thinking of selfish reasons the day before.
Where exactly is this coming from, Becca?
I don't think she means to say that one out loud, judging how quick her head snaps up at my question. Ash. She wants to be on that Ash train. It's all yours. Take him. Go ahead. Blessings, please.
Certain things. It's nothing. Don't get worked up about it.
Please, just, all yours.
Anyhow, I should go. Try not to think about it, all right? You need your rest, and I'll be next door if you need me.
My hands move automatically to grab the back of her shirt before she can take a single step away. I have no idea what came over me. Her apartment's next door. I can easily bother her if I need something. She said so herself. However, my trembling hands refuse to budge. I don't want to be alone.
Do you want me to stay?
Can you? Just until I fall asleep?
What are you, 5?
Please. I really, absolutely don't want to be left alone right now.
See, even now, they're still ha ha, she's terrified, please stay with me, and still, quips.
I tried to sleep earlier. Last night, too. I thought a shower would help today, but it's still in my head.
What am I going to do with you?
I smile. Thanks, Becca, or I'm glad you're here. I'm glad she's here. Obviously, she's glad that she's here.
You are such a big baby.
I've maxed out Rebecca's relationship. To the max.
Move over. I know how we'll fix this.
She motions for me to scoot, and I do so, though not without a scoff. There's something about seeing a relationship tree, it makes you want to, achieve or just completely send it all the way down. At least for me. Typical Becca, a teacher through and through, regardless of where she is. Because teachers get into bed with you? What are you saying, Isabella? Then without notice, she pulls my head to her lap. What are you saying? Teachers shouldn't be doing that to you. I freeze. I got an achievement. Also, that face that Isabella's making, what happened? Because I unlocked it. I mean, I'll take her over Ash if those are the choices.
What are you doing?
Singing you to sleep like the big baby you are. I may not be as good a singer as you are, but I can handle a few tunes.
Can you tell I play way too many, dating sims? Because I'm instantly who pairs with who?
Stop treating me like a kid. This is completely unnecessary.
Yeah, but that face doesn't match, the erotic joy face that's happening on the CG. I make an attempt to straighten up, but Becca's persistent. Gently, she pushes my head back down.
I'm kidding. Didn't you say this is how your mom used to lull you to sleep? I just thought you could use something familiar to you.
You're not my mom.
It may sound like a complaint, but we both know the statement has no ill will attached to it. If she's jealous because she thinks that Isabella likes Ash and Ash is making a move, no, I will take, either she can go with Ash or I can go with her. Just Ash, blah.
How are they back home? You said they called?
Good. From what Mama told me, EJ won a medal.
Who's EJ again?
The youngest. A bit chubby on the cheeks. I showed you a picture of him once. You said he looks a little like me, especially around the eyes.
She's quiet as I talk, interrupting only to ask a question if there's something she doesn't understand. I tell her of my 4 younger siblings, little troublemakers, all of them. And of my no-good elder brother who almost landed himself in jail a month ago. Of my sister who had to move away recently to run from her ever-increasing debts. It's the same old story she's heard countless times. Yet every time she asks, every time it's brought up, she listens tirelessly. Becca may not believe me about the ghost. She may have just been listening to help keep my fears at bay. But for now, I am content. Sleep comes easier tonight. And for the first time in a long time, I dream. Of clear skies, of unrestrained laughter from children playing in the streets, and of small, cramped dwellings. To an outsider, the sight does not paint a pretty picture. However, this is home to me. Sunday. Dun dun dun. Morning dawns bright and clear the following day. Although the air still feels muggy and I miss the chilly autumn weather, it's one of those rare weekends when I allow myself to sleep in for the sake of sleeping in. The clock is flashing 9 a.m. when I open my eyes. Becca's already gone, likely to the library. She has a habit of keeping herself busy even on the weekend. She did leave a note at my fridge reminding me to eat, along with a plate of breakfast on the counter. Really? She gets angry when I call her mom, but then she goes ahead and does things like this. I flop back lazily in my bed. From my window, I can hear the world beginning to stir. I should too. There are still papers to organize, documents to sign and hand over tomorrow. Yet just staring at a gloomy white ceiling like this, waking up alone, it seems to be filled with the irrational need to go back to sleep. But I've got calls to make, people to check on, and good news to deliver. Blindly, I fumble to my phone on the nightstand and dial the number I've been itching to call since yesterday. It rings for a good while. I can already imagine Mama's startled face. She's probably cooking something for dinner right now. Knowing her, she'll turn off the stove first, like she always reminds me, wash her hands and wipe them thoroughly in her apron before picking up the phone. Small striking habits I didn't know I'd miss until I stopped seeing them.
Hello? Santos residence?
Mama, how are you?
The usual pleasantries, questions about how they're doing, how life's going, back home, bits and pieces, although small, helps form a vague picture of things I've missed in my mind. Aegis' excited voice resounds from the other end and I smile to myself.
What about you? Are you eating well?
You asked that a few days ago, but yeah. And, Mama, I've got something to tell you.
Oh no, you're not pregnant, are you?
What? No! Mama, stop making jokes like that.
This is a serious question, Grace. I've been looking at your face note. Who is this Ashton? Are you pregnant?
Not by Ashton, please.
Who? Ash? No. Oh, good heavens. It isn't like that. We aren't like that. No one's pregnant, Mama.
Well then stop stalling. You're making me nervous, Grace.
So very like Mama to jump to conclusions like that. And against my better judgment, I laugh. Light and surprisingly easier now that the heavy weight is lifted. Mama's clicking her tongue on the other end, impatient by the delay. I know you're getting a tongue click, you better hurry up. I want to hug her.
Remember the house? We got a buyer yesterday. I'll be able to send a remittance soon.
Even with hundreds of miles separating us right now, her relief is palpable. The tired lilt in her voice is still there, but it's fading. Perhaps not now, but maybe in the near future. When Pop is well and distance is not a problem.
The buyer gave us a bonus, too. I can send that early while we're waiting to finalize things, because that might take a few days. And then there's...
Grace, stop.
Yes, Mama?
It's okay. Keep it to yourself. You don't have to send everything.
Don't worry. I've got enough here. You taught me how to budget properly, didn't you?
Don't you want to buy something for yourself? Or for your friend? Rebecca, was it?
Rebecca will complain, Mama.
Then tell her it's from me, as thanks for taking care of my stubborn daughter.
You both sound so alike. But I will. Thanks, Mama.
The call goes longer than usual. When we hang up after goodbyes and I love yous have been said, the day appears brighter in my eyes. There are no half-truths and empty promises this time. Light streams through my open windows. The world is fully awake and the last vestiges of sleep have faded from my eyes. Maybe a walk will be good. I need to visit the grocery store too. Come to think of it, wasn't there an art store that opened recently near the park? The cat's name is Beruthiel. Or at least that's what its collar says. It's not a name to give a cat, in my opinion. But it speaks grace, much like the one that carries it. It shows in the way he swishes his tail and his eyes follow my hand's every movement. I'm not sure what he finds fascinating in me, to be honest. I wasn't the very picture of grace when he found me, after all. It was a bad idea carrying 2 heavy bags of newly bought art materials and groceries without help or a sure ride home. In hindsight, perhaps I shouldn't have bought all of these at the same time. I didn't even make it past the park. And now I'm suffering underneath the glaring afternoon sun, hunched up on a park bench and drenched in sweat, in the company of a cat, curiously watching my every movement. I hope it stays where it is. It's just a black cat, but back at home, they're considered ill omens.
Don't look at me like that. I can act graceful as well if I want to.
Not that I've ever acted graceful in my life, of course. Growing up with rowdy younger brothers and a sister does that. Or maybe it's the opposite. Mommy used to call me a little troublemaker before. Well, graceful or not, there's no use moping. A short breather and then I'm off home. Besides, it isn't like the company's bad, even if it's a cat, as long as it doesn't bite or cross my path.
Well, where's your owner, anyway?
He has one, doesn't he? An owner? That's what the collar's for, isn't it? A bandage is wrapped on one of its paws, though. I wonder what happened to it. Did he run away?
Well, if you don't have one, I won't be able to take you in. My apartment doesn't allow pets. I tried to bring one home before, a cat. Not black, of course.
Aw, poor black cats. Because of the superstitions, people don't want them, you know.
And Rebecca threw a fit before the landlady could.
I take a small packet of sweets from one of the bags beside me and pop it open. As I'm about to put one in my mouth, he meows. My hand stops.
Do you want one?
He doesn't meow again as I'm expecting him to, but I take his unblinking gaze as a yes. I shift the piece to my palm and hold it out to him warily. He sniffs at it once, twice before...
Baruthia!
Like a good, properly trained pet, Baruthiel responds as soon as he's called. Is that her familiar? Is she a witch? Recognition comes as soon as my head snaps in the direction of the voice. Miss McCullough is hard to miss, what with her height.
I'm sorry. Did my cat hurt you? Miss Santos, was it? I'm surprised to see you here.
At a public park.
Nice to meet you again, Miss McCullough.
Were you harmed in any way? I'm sorry. Baruthiel's not exactly fond of other people. Even run away from the veterinarian right now.
Oh no, he was just sniffing my hand earlier.
My Baruthiel's a she.
Well, it's not like she was looking intimately at the cat, staring at its behind and nether regions. All this time I thought, the pause in conversation, if this can be called one, is uncomfortable. Yeah, because she made it uncomfortable. Why is everybody so awkward with Isabella? We're merely two people working different jobs for the same client. Two ships passing in the night, as it were. Frankly, meetings like this don't happen a lot, and if it does, a simple nodding of heads is enough. Still, trying to be friendly won't hurt, right? Talk about her cat or talk about her job? Well, I mean, she's already thinking about the cat, so why don't we talk about her job, try and change the topic a little bit.
I'm just curious about your work.
Oh, she really liked that. She loves her job. Not her cat so much, apparently.
What about it?
There's something guarded in her expression at mention of work, but I pushed through with my question.
I just want to know how it is to work on a house like the Ermengarde Mansion. Is it hard?
I guess she wasn't expecting a question like that if the way her eyebrows shot up tell me anything.
Because of its age? I wouldn't say it is. It is a challenge, considering the factors me and my team have sought out.
Oh, she's excited. It must be one of those jobs where people don't ask you a lot.
But it's a good project. A breath of fresh air from what I usually work on. And I have a good team. Those original fittings, though. It might be old, but the architecture is magnificent. I'm sure you've seen the stained glass windows in the foyer. Oh, I can already think of so many things I could do with it. But of course, my team will have to double check for necessary repairs here and there. That's probably for the best. It's easy to break some key elements with a rush restoration job, and who knows what other hidden issues there might be underneath. People can be so careless.
Truth.
I'm sorry, I spoke too much.
Oh, it's all good. You're nice.
No, it's okay. You seem to really love what you're doing.
It's not really like that. I'm just lucky to have found work in an interesting field. Anyway, Baruthiel's due for her visit to the vet. Nice talking to you, Miss Santos. I wish you luck with what you're planning to work on. It seems like a big project, too.
She gestures with her head towards the bags, the ones filled with stuff I've recently brought from the art store.
It's a project for a friend, actually.
All the same. Good luck.
I watch her as she leaves, though she stops shortly before crossing the threshold separating the park and the street. She faces me again, looking like there's something she has forgotten to say.
By the way, about the Ermengarde Mansion. With my clients, it's the rights. I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking, but has the deal been finalized?
Why wouldn't she know that?
There's still a few papers they need, but the house is more or less theirs now.
Ah, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Wait, about the mansion.
Isabella. The letter, the same one they saw. Whoever she is, she's asking for help. Someone. I want to tell Miss McCullough that the urban legends aren't just legends anymore. They're real. She is not going to believe me.
Don't mind me. I need to go too. Have a good day, Miss McCullough.
I hasten to pick all the bags I've left on the bench and ran as far as my legs can take me. In that moment, what I'm carrying in my hands weighs far less than the overwhelming guilt trying to consume me. Home. I want to go home. Anywhere where I won't be reminded of the house, of her, of my own cowardice. The food tastes less appetizing tonight. A pity. One would think that someone who had been on a continuous binge of instant noodles would find a home-cooked meal enjoyable. But it isn't. It depends on the noodles. Hunger isn't what is gnawing me tonight, neither are my sore muscles. The TV runs loudly in the background, but what it says barely registers in my brain. It's hard when the things you're trying to forget keep returning to the forefront of your mind. It distracts you, eats at you, devours you. I wish this would stop. I wish I wasn't the one who picked it up. I wish it was somebody else.
In other local news, a woman was found dead in her home. Luxbourne police officials are currently investigating the crime scene, but has classified the case as homicide.
Huh?
The victim, identified as Rose Pamela Cooper, 33 years old, working as a real estate agent.
Okay, but Rose didn't see the letter first, or did she? Did she? And did she leave the letter in the attic for Isabella to find Rose?
Discovered lying in a pool of blood in her two-bedroom flat with the words "help me" repeatedly written on the walls.
Oh dear, it's serious business now. No, this isn't what I want. This isn't supposed to happen. None of this is supposed to happen. Because when she showed the letter to people, like, Rose was not the first person to read it. She only actually looked at it after. But Miss McCullough, the Wrights, they read it first. So how are you operating, Ghost? Like, you gotta do it properly in, like, the order the letter's shown to. Them is the rules. No one's supposed to die. Those are the stories, right? Legends. That's what everyone's kept telling me. And so immediately I rushed to my study table in search of my phone. My hand, cold from dread, clings tightly to it as soon as I touch its edges. A piece of folded paper, the letter lying unassumingly beside it, slips to the floor when I pick up the device. But I pay it no mind. There are more important things. Right now, I need to call her. I was with her. I was just with her not too long ago and she was okay. No, it isn't Rose. I'm sure of it. I just talked to her and a sob escapes me and hot tears begin to blur my vision. One after another they trickle down, weighed by this very same guilt I refuse to admit I've been carrying from the start. The same one I've been hiding from. The same one that has put the people I care about in danger. My hands shake as I navigate Rose's number on my contacts list. She'll answer, right? That's what she always does. She'll pick it up, tell me to turn down the waterworks, and call me a wuss afterwards.
She'll answer. Please answer, Rose.
Uh-oh. Again and again I dial, whispering, praying, pleading.
Come on, Rose. Don't do this to me. Please pick up. I know you're there, Rose. You're not dead. Please tell me you're not.
This adds to the series of deaths and disappearances that has plagued Luxbourne in the recent years. The authorities are currently looking at a possible link with the notorious Anselm Butcher case.
It's Ash. He's killing people who find the letter. The TV runs loudly in the background. A deafening static sounds from my phone's speakers. But in my ears I can only hear the screams, her pleas, her whispers. Help me. We are not safe. Monday. A buzzing sensation jolts me awake. My body still wants to sleep to forget what I heard, what I saw last night. But it's there, nudging, prodding at me. Slowly I become aware of how awkward my position is and the aches that accompany sleeping in a curled up position the night before, if I even slept at all. The memories are impossible to forget now that Rose is gone. They say it's easier when you say it out loud. Instead, the words weigh heavier on me each time. She's gone. Gone because of me. Gone because of one letter I was too curious to look at. I should have been more careful. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I should have destroyed it before anyone else had gotten involved. I should have... Notification light on my laptop blinks incessantly, mockingly when I look at it, as if it's calling me back to a sense of normalcy. I check it nevertheless out of habit more than anything else. BRC employees, in light of the recent events, there will be an emergency staff meeting from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Attendance is a must. Company changes, new hierarchy and policies will all be discussed during the meeting. Everyone is expected to bring a copy of their own attendance logs and sales reports for the last 6 months to be submitted to your respective managers for review. We are expecting everyone's cooperation. If this were one of those typical days, I'd happily comply and get myself to our office. Today my limbs just feel heavy. On one hand, going will keep me busy, take my mind elsewhere. On the other, the place in itself is a stark reminder of what my own fears have cost me. I should just stay home or go to work. I'm gonna go to work. Like, because her whole thing has been that she's been too afraid, so let's try and get her to go. Moping won't get me anywhere. This is just one of those things, isn't it? You deal with it with a smile, no matter how bad things get, and hope for the best. Although my whole body feels like lead and my limbs are sore, I push myself away from the chair and head for the shower. The letter I dropped on the floor last night flutters open as I pass by, unfolding for no one else but me to see. Every word written on it glares back at me. They sneer. They ridicule, like living beings fully aware of what they've done. With a huff, I pick it up and shove it into my bag, perhaps with more anger and frustration than I'm used to showing. This, too, I'll deal with. Somehow I'll find a way and make things right. I have to, before it takes more people from me, even if I must do it on my own. Papers rustling, telephones ringing, feet shuffling. Overall, today looks like a typical working day at Briar Realty Corporation. Except it isn't. The air is thick with tension and unspoken questions. No doubt everyone present has already heard about Rose. If they missed last night's report, they'd likely see it in the morning news, in the papers, or on various news sites on the internet. Everywhere is a bitter reminder. In fact, everyone's giving me a wide berth, as though the mere mention of Rose would be enough to trigger something in me. Which, I mean, it probably would. It's appreciated, but it only serves to create a bigger hole in the place Rose has left. After lunch, my boss calls for a meeting. I don't have to look up from my work to know what it is about. He's in a strange, pensive mood today, probably out of respect for a dead colleague. Oddly, I'd appreciate it more if he just shouted at me today. Anything is better.
I'm sure you've all heard of what happened to Miss Cooper. She was a valued member of our team and she will be missed.
Sure, Sir John.
There's no date for a funeral yet, but those who wish to attend, kindly speak with your respective supervisors.
She was my supervisor.
By the way, has anyone heard about our still AWOL staff? None? HR, you know what to do. Santos, a word? In my office?
At the end of it, I've been given the entirety of Rose's workload, including finalizing the rights papers, and I have been promised an ample compensation for my efforts. I think he's expecting me to be happy about it. Instead, I immerse myself in my work. I have to anyway if I want to forget. Time flies when you do. Time flies when you do. By the time I give notice, it's already late. Time flies when you do. By the time I give notice, it's already late. That's an awkward sentence for me. Everyone's already gone, leaving me in the company of a radio and a member of our janitorial staff. I don't even know his name. Rose likely does. She remembers people easily like that.
The Luxbourne Police Department continues its search for the following reported missing people.
The radio blares one name after another. Hold on a second. Missing? Aren't they? Still, I have to check. Frantic, I turn back to my desktop. The loud tapping of my fingers against the keys fills the office the better part of my shift as I look through everything. The background about the place, its history from the current owners, and a list of employees hired under BRC. And I'm right. Of course I am. BRC may have a lot of staff, and they may have a lot of agents hired, but I remember those names anywhere. After all, they're also part of the crew who worked with us in preparing the mansion for the open house. Then the letters... No, that can't be. I hope it's not what I'm thinking.
But Rose is...
Something snaps into place in the fraction of a moment. These people, Rose, the letter...
I need to... No. If it's like this, they still won't believe me. I have to make sure of it first.
Evidence doesn't lie. That's what Ash often says, right? If I have proof, then maybe... I don't want to get my hopes up yet, but maybe there's still a way I can save them. I want to save people. Nobody die into a curse if I can help it and make the right choices. The letter, my phone, papers, anything that will be useful. I grab all of them and stuff them in my bag. I can't stay here. There's something I need to do. There's something those people should... The noise cuts sharply through the room, stopping my hand short of cramming a pen into my bag. What is it?
Hello? Anyone there?
Hello? Someone must have left their printer open again. I may be in a hurry, but if I don't turn it off, another person is certainly going to have a fit tomorrow over wasting company resources. Quick time? Most of the time it's Rose does the nagging, but the clicking of my pen in my hand is a welcome distraction as I search for the said object. It's not a distraction for me, it's freaking me out. Each stride my feet take also echo throughout the empty workplace. I've lost sight of the janitor minutes ago, and with me being the only one left, the tapping of my feet against the wooden floor is something I soon learned to appreciate. It doesn't take me long to find it. By the time I turn it off, 5 pages are already strewn about on the ground, the paper tray having also been left ajar. Sighing, I pick each of them up to put someplace proper. But the page that greets me makes my blood run cold. Does it just say help me? Yep, the chill that makes its way up my spine is as numbing as the day in the attic. Okay, the sheets crinkle. All I can hear is my breathing as it rasps through my gritted teeth. Before I can even gather myself, take the first steps out of there, total darkness suddenly envelops me. And as if I'm hearing every horrid thought running through my head, right now something snaps. A soft creak grating through the thin veil of stillness that has descended in the room. Every muscle, every bone in my body goes rigid at the sound. Ugh, it's awful. Familiar. So familiar now. Yet my own traitor's curiosity still presses me to take a careful peek over the cubicle's walls. Hi. It's her. Standing in the only exit of the office, albeit facing away from me. She doesn't even need to turn around for me to know it's the same misshapen face, tattered clothes, and unsightly gait. The same person in the attic. I take a step back, the pen I'm holding slips from my hands and... her entire head turns. Hi! What up? A scream almost escapes my mouth and I duck under my table as quickly as I can. My heart is pounding hard against my chest. I can hear the bone-chilling sounds of her walk, the weird clicking that follows her, and the telltale squelch of something wet as she walks towards me because her feet are bleeding. Whew. Nearer and nearer. The sounds are slowly getting louder. The only thing keeping the wind from escaping me is my hand as it covers my mouth. Someone please save me. Anyone? I close my eyes, muttering a continuous stream of prayers, all while attempting to steady my own breathing. Please, please, please don't let her hear me. Whoa. Got it. Got it. No! Sarah! Got it. No!
Our Father, who art in heaven, give us this day our daily, and lead us not into...
Okay, I've gotta live. Come on. Okay, in. Focus. In. In. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Yay! The seconds, minutes stretch out before me agonizingly. Is she gone? Slowly I open my eyes to take. I feel so successful. It's like, of course, like, yay. I don't dare move or make. I don't like it. In the face of such terror, I can only beg, let out silent pleas to whoever is out there. Please, please don't let her notice. I want to live. Hannah.
All right, so it looks like we're coming back next time with Hannah, and we're gonna jump right into it, and I can promise that it's gonna get extra cursy and awkward, inappropriate flirtation that you will not be expecting. So I'm looking forward to continuing on. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.